Welcome to another episode of Jay Leno's Garage. This is one of the oddest and most fun cars that I have. This is a Morgan three-wheeler. Technically, this is a 1932. Although this car was assembled in 1946. During the war, obviously everything stopped. There were a lot of parts left over. 9 cars were sent to Australia using the MX-4 engine. Had a little bit more horsepower than the MX-2 engine. That's a matchless motor, water-cooled. They were sent to Australia. 9 cars were built in Australia and titled as 46s. So I have a title as a 46, but technically it's an early 30s design. Morgan didn't change them a whole lot. It's a wonderful motor. It's water-cooled. There's no fan. It uses a thermosiphon, much like the Model T Ford. The water gets hot and just, you know, the pressure of the hot water circulates, forces it through the radiator. Doesn't overheat, runs fine. It stays pretty cool all exposed like this. It's about 990 cc's. It's 42.1 horsepower, which doesn't sound like much, but this doesn't weigh a whole lot. See, in England, anything with less than 4 wheels was not considered an automobile. It was considered a motorcycle. So consequently, you could save a great deal on road tax, because there's no logical reason why you'd have a three-wheeler. I mean, they're a lot of fun to drive. One of the main disadvantages is you can't avoid any bumps. If you don't hit it with the outer wheel, you hit it with the inner wheel. So if you see a big pothole, you say to yourself, do I want to get it in the back or do I want to get it in the side? So go for the side, because the back is not good. Pretty sophisticated car. As I said, it's a 3-speed with a reverse gear, which sounds pretty normal, but most Morgans didn't have that. The real purists like the 2-speed Morgans without reverse, but this is sort of the luxury model, so it has all the accoutrements. You got your fog lights, wire wheels. They're all guaranteed to do 80 miles an hour, and believe me, 80 miles an hour in this feels like 180 miles an hour. It's hilarious. You sit really low to the ground. Let's walk around the car. You've got your oil filter right in here. You pull that out, there's a wire mesh in there that you clean. Water goes here for the radiator, oil goes here for the engine. Your gas tank is right here. Got your, obviously, rear view mirror. Something a little unusual, there's no foot throttle. You have a hand throttle right here. That's your choke, that's your advance and retard. You've got a proper dashboard, a little dashboard light. You got speedometer, ammeter, no tach, because the engine's right there in front of you. You can just look out and watch it. It has my favorite hairpin valve springs. Although coil valve springs are much better, hairpins are much sexier. I always like the look of these. This is what they call a barrel back. The early models, the 2-speeders, didn't carry a spare. This carries a spare tire right here. In fact, one day I'm going down the road, you know, I'm kind of flying down Mulholland, and this guy comes up to me and goes, hey, you lost a wheel. I go, yeah, thank you very much, you know, big joke. And he goes, no, you lost a wheel. Thank you, I get it. Thanks, pal, I appreciate it. You know, I get home, and the whole wheel is gone. Apparently, I hit a bump, and the whole rear of this car just fell off, and it rolled down a hill, and I went back, and I never ever found it. So whoever that guy was, thank you for telling me. I just assumed you're being a wise guy. But I actually lost the wheel. But that being said, I got another one, and we put it back together, and this time I Loctited it. Always use Loctite. As you can see, it's dual exhaust. 2-seater. They actually made a 4-seater version of these, another seat back here, so you could take the family. There's no rear view mirror. I just buy these at the 99-cent store and I stick them on. They come from Japan. They work fantastically well, so you can see behind you. You got a windshield wiper, even has a top, but one of these with the top on looks ridiculous. Here, I'll show you a picture. See what I mean? It looks stupid. You actually have to be in the car and then fasten the top around you. It doesn't make any sense. Had this car a little over 20 years. Once took Barbara Walters for a ride in this car. That was a lot of fun. Now, there are 2 ways to start this car. You can use the electric starter, which would be the coward's way, or you can actually use the hand crank. So for the sake of this video, let's hand crank it. First thing you want to do is retard your ignition, because if you don't, it'll break your arm. Give it a little bit of throttle. Make sure you're in neutral, because if you crank it and it starts, the car will then run you over. I've had people get pinned to their garage wall. They go like this, bing, and then the car, and then they're stuck. So give it a little bit of throttle, retard, minimum choke. Tickle the carburetor here. Puts a little bit of gas in the cylinder. Whenever you use a hand crank, always have your thumb on the inside, because if it kicks back, it'll break your thumb. So let's see how this works. One crank, laddie.
You've all seen the smart car. This is the dumb car. Nothing gives you a feeling of speed like driving this thing. It's quite torquey. It's like flying a World War I biplane. These two cylinders sound like machine guns. People have no idea what this thing is. These are wonderful motors, these MX4s, matchless. These were also used in the Brough Superior. George Brough chose them because they were the most reliable, most powerful English motors of the day. And as you can see, it goes quite well. Your foot brake controls your front wheels, and your hand brake controls your rear wheel. Brakes are not the best. People think this has a sliding pillar suspension. Not really. It's more like a sliding axle. People think they have a wood chassis. No, they have a metal chassis. Just have a lot of ash in the body. Nice thing about this car is if you want to check your engine, just look in the headlight and you can see the reflection. You know, when you pull up next to Hondas, they look like Peterbilt trucks. You're going down the freeway 60, holding on for dear life. You look over and there's a girl putting lipstick on next to you and you go, oh, I guess I'm not going that fast. In fact, one time I was up on Mulholland Drive in this thing, and I come sliding around a corner. I think I'm doing about 70, 75. And I slide sideways, and I'm coming down the straight. There's a cop there with a radar gun. I go, down! Down! The radar gun! So I pull over, you know, and I wait, and nothing happened. So I turn around, and I go back, and I go, how you doing? He goes, good. I go, was I okay? He goes, yeah, the speed limit here is 45. You're only doing 38. I said, 38? I thought I was doing 70. Now 38. I said, that's impossible. Just feels fast. But that being said, she still will run at freeway speeds. I mean, I take this on the freeway all the time, and she can hold 70, 75, no problem. You know, you don't want to tangle with an SUV. We're doing 65, 70, no problem at all. That's a little scary. You can feel that rear end dancing around. It's actually quite comfortable. You know, there's all kinds of leg room. It seems like you'd be cramped, but there's no gas pedal. Your gas pedal is right here, as I said. So I'm 6 feet tall and I fit this thing perfectly. The nice thing is, if you have an accident, they just bury you in the whole car. You dig a hole. They don't have to take you out of the car. They just lower you right in the ground. The Morgan Club is fantastic. Every part is available for these things, because they believe in keeping them on the road. Morgan is the oldest continuing automobile company in England. During the 80s and 90s, there was as much as an 8-year waiting period to get a Morgan. That's the difference between England and America. English people will wait 2 years, 3 years. Americans don't even want to wait a weekend. They have to have it right now. That being said, they're well worth waiting for. So I'm going to take this thing out and exercise a little bit. See you next week.